welcome back. Well, this is one of my favorite recipes. This is Kwanzaa celebration, of course, and this is going to be a pecan coconut pie. I know when you think about these ingredients, you think that they're not healthy, but the version that I'm putting together is going to be very healthy, and more importantly, it's going to taste good. So I start off with graham cracker crumbs, and just going to dump those into the bowl. One of the other things I'm actually using is I'm using about a couple of tablespoons of butter. The thing about butter is that you can enjoy butter, but just not use a whole lot of it when you're actually making your dish in terms of your pie. And so this here is just a small amount, and you want the butter to be a little softened. You don't want it too hot, because if it's too hot, it's not going to bond with the graham cracker crumbs. The other ingredients I have here, this here is some ground cinnamon and then a little bit of sugar, just a small amount of sugar, but just a couple of tablespoons just to sweeten the graham cracker crumbs. So we just kind of dump that in. This is also a little that the kids can enjoy doing. You know, basically what you're doing, you're just making a crust. And so I'm just mixing, and I'm a down-home boy, and what I like to do is actually just use my fingers to make this here and just kind of mix it up. And now you can see why it's so important to not melt the butter, because you see the crumbs here, which is actually going to hold the graham crackers crumbs together here, because the butter is not completely melted, so it's going to give it some body. And at this stage, what you want to do is just to dump it onto the pie pan. Just take this, and what you want to do is just basically mash it all the way around. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, you can certainly use a large wooden spoon. It'll be just as effective. And once you've gotten it all the way around, the next stage what you want to do is to take it and put it in the refrigerator for about maybe 20-25 minutes, and the point of that would be is to firm up the crust itself. Okay, so I'm going to just set this aside, because now I need to look at the fillings that's going to be part of the pie itself. And what I have here are the ingredients for the filling. I want to start off with this here is some evaporated fat-free milk, and it's really available on the marketplace. You can find it at any major grocery store. What I love about this is that sometimes a lot of people, when they cook, they think about using fat-free or either skim milk, but the evaporated milk gives a little bit more body, and that's what you want into this here, because you're baking. And it's so easy when something is fat-free, is just basically to mellow it out, which is not good when you're doing the baking process. So we're going to add some sugar. That's about a 3/4 cup of sugar. And we're going to add some coconut here. Coconut just a little bit, that it will give it the name, the coconut pie, which is roughly about a cup. And we're going to add some egg whites in here. These are 2 egg whites. A little bit of flour to bind all of these ingredients together. That becomes important when I stir it up. And for the pecans, this is about 2 tablespoons of pecan, and these are chopped pecans. Okay. And for our spice, or flavor I like to call, we have some orange zest, we have some cinnamon, and we have some lemon zest. If you're looking at measurements, this is just really a small amount, only 1/2 teaspoon, and each one of these is about a half to themselves. So we're just going to dump this in here. If you're really not a zest person and you want to stick straight with the spices, what you can do easily is that you can use some nutmeg and go with cinnamon if you don't want the zest going on into the flavor of the pie. And this is just a little bit of vanilla extract, which is about a 1/2 teaspoon. Just fold that in there. So at this stage, what I'm going to do is just basically mix these ingredients together. A friend of mine, when I was actually testing this recipe, said, oh, well, you know, is there a way to make this more of an international flair in terms of taste? And I said, you certainly can do it. And what you can do it is that you can look at maybe Jamaican allspice as a substitute, as opposed to the cinnamon. Or you can look at cardamomo, you know, and cardamomo is really big, like from North Africa, in terms of flavor. And so that way you have more of this international taste. And once again, we are celebrating Kwanzaa on this show. And so you don't have to just limit it to flavors that are so familiar with America. So what I mentioned earlier, what we have here is the pie crust that you saw earlier that needs to be chilled so they can get the body form. And we have one already ready that's been chilled in the refrigerator. And I'm basically just going to pour out the ingredients of the pie filler and just kind of spread that around. Okay. So at this stage, what's going to happen in a 350-degree oven, preheated, is what this is going to be baked at. And I would roughly say about 20-25 minutes roughly that you want to cook it. And the key would be that you test it with your hand, your palm of the hand, to make sure that it's a nice spring form. And it should be just a little bit slight brown on the top. That would give you the idea to let you know that it's done.